So I want you to imagine right now that there's an island that you want to get to. And also imagine that you're a long distance away from that island and that you're floating in a little canoe paddling towards the island. Now, besides the distance that you have to navigate, you also have a number of very serious hindrances that you're facing on your voyage. So the first one is that you have a rather large hole in your canoe and it's leaking profusely. Secondly, the water that you're crossing is chock-a-block full of thousands upon thousands of huge man-eating crocodiles that are constantly launching themselves at you in your canoe. And to add to your woes, you only have one oar. And whilst you have a rifle, you don't have an unlimited source of ammunition. So here's your challenge. If you just row like crazy for the island, the crocs will jump in and eat you. And if on the other hand you just stand your ground and shoot the deathly creatures, then the hole in the canoe will just suck in the water and pretty soon your canoe will sink. So what do? How do you get safely to your destination? So let me kind of marry up this scenario with your current reality at work. Okay? So you've got things you want to achieve, right? You've got goals that you want to accomplish. You need to get to your own version of the quote-unquote island. So whatever objectives you have to accomplish, that's your island. You're also currently floating in a leaky boat. Sales are leaking because of the economy. Sales are down because your marketing spend is down. Sales are leaking because your salespeople just aren't good enough to close sales in this prevailing market. Maybe your sales are down because your competition is slashing their margins to maintain their own cash flow and you just can't compete with their ridiculous prices. Maybe your sales are leaking for any one of a number of reasons. All right? So you have a hole in your boat. You also only have one oar. Now your oar is akin to sales production, and this is where you and your salespeople are all doing the most productive thing possible. However, you also have a whole lot of other urgent things that are screaming for your attention. Things that must be done, things that the boss is calling for, things that your customers are calling for, things that your salespeople are calling for, and that the marketing department is calling for, and that customer service is calling for, things that the market itself is calling for. And if that wasn't bad enough, now along comes Ian Seagal, your online coach, and he has stuff that he needs you to do. There's just a whole heap of things that need to be done, and how do you do them? These are all the crocodiles. So what do? How do you navigate your way through this lot? Well, the fact is, other than simply throwing in the towel and giving up and allowing the crocs to have their way with you, there really is only one thing you can do. There really is only one way forward. And here is the recipe. Shoot once, row once. Shoot once, row once. Shoot once, row once. Shoot, row, shoot, row, shoot, row. Until you can get to the point where you are row, row, shoot, row, row, shoot, row, row, shoot. And as your canoe starts to get momentum, so now you row, 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 shoot, row, 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 shoot. And slowly but surely you start to move forward faster, and now you row, 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 shoot, row, 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 shoot. That's the recipe for moving forward. And so, ever so slowly, as you shoot one, row one, you'll begin to get momentum. And the more momentum you get, the more your canoe will begin to self-drain. And as the water now begins to get flushed out the boat, the faster you start to move forward towards your goals. Okay, so great, Ian, I get the picture. I get that I need to be investing more of my time doing the most productive thing. And I get that I'm sailing in a leaky boat. And I get that if it is to be, then it's up to me. So I'm sure the question that you're asking yourself right now is, what do I do on the ground? How do I make this lesson practical? How do I begin to turn my leaky boat around? I hear you asking me. All right. Firstly, let's determine what row 1 looks like for you right now. How many productive hours are you currently averaging a day? So let's just say, for the purpose of this lesson, let's say that you've been really brutal in your self-assessment and you've worked out that you're currently averaging around 1.5 productive hours a day. All right? If this is the case, then you can't just go from row 1, shoot 1 to row 5, shoot 1. But you can go from row 1, shoot 1 to row 2, shoot 1. In other words, if you're currently pushing hard to get 1 productive hour in a day, you can't just go from 1 to 5, but you can go from 1 to 2. The decision that I want you to make right now is, what can you reasonably achieve given everything you're currently carrying on your plate right now? Now, I don't want you to be too easy on yourself or your boat will keep sinking. But don't be too ambitious either, or you'll end up being eaten alive. So what is your very own version of row once, shoot once? And as of now, instead of just working 1 productive hour a day, just for the next week, I want you to be conscious and focused and disciplined and ramp up your productive time to 2 hours a day. If you're currently averaging 2 productive hours, then ramp it up to 3, etc., etc. You'll still be doing your shooting. You'll still have to be killing those dreaded crocodiles, but now you're rowing 2 and shooting 1. Then, once you've completed 1 full week at your new level of output, ramp it up again. Keep on going. Keep consciously ramping up your productive time each and every week until you're investing at least 4 to 5 hours every day working on increasing the profitable sales revenue generation of your sales team. So as of now, it is no longer acceptable that you lead yourself by way of autopilot, working reactively, just focused on getting through your day. All time has value, and the way that you think about time and the way that you think about yourself and the value that you place on your own time will affect everything that happens to you both inside and outside of your business for the rest of your life. So in short, you have to value your time before anyone else will. So now that you are conscientiously focused on productivity first, I'm going to give you a powerful weekly planning tool that will help ensure that nothing falls through the cracks. In other words, if you are going to be proactive in your attempts to ramp up your rowing, then you will need an additional planning tool to help ensure that you don't get bit on the bum by a sneaky croc.